Welcome to FHWA's Highway Cybersecurity Fundamentals Read Ahead. A vulnerability is a weakness which allows an attacker to reduce the system's information assurance. To help convey the concept of a vulnerability, the graphic depicts the intersection of three elements: a system susceptibility or flaw, an attacker access to the flaw, and the attacker capability to exploit the flaw. To exploit a vulnerability, an attacker must have accessibility, at least one application tool or technique that can connect to a system weakness. In this frame, vulnerability is also known as the attack surface. Vulnerability management is the cyclical practice of identifying, classifying, remediating, and mitigating software vulnerabilities. A security risk may be classified as a vulnerability, but it should be noted that the use of vulnerability within the same meaning of risk can lead to confusion. Just note that the risk is tied to the potential of a significant loss. Then there are vulnerabilities without risk. For example, when the affected asset has no value. A vulnerability with one or more known instances of working and fully implementing attacks is classified as an exploitable vulnerability, a vulnerability for which an exploit exists. The window of vulnerability is the time from when the security hole or flaw was introduced or manifested in deployed software or launched software to when access was removed, with a security fix was available, deployed, or the attacker was disabled. We'll address this more when we discuss zero-day attack. An exploit is a piece of software, a chunk of data, or a sequence of commands that take advantage of a bug or vulnerability in order to cause unintended or unanticipated behavior to occur on computer software, hardware, or something electronic, usually computerized. Such behavior frequently includes things like gaining control of a computer system, allowing privilege escalation, or a denial of service attack. There are several methods of classifying exploits. The most common is by how the exploit contacts the vulnerable software. A remote exploit works over a network and exploits the security vulnerability without any prior access to the vulnerable system. A local exploit requires prior access to the vulnerable system and usually increases the privileges of the person running the exploit past those granted by the system administrator. Exploits against client applications also exist, usually consisting of modified servers that send an exploit if accessed with a client application. Exploits against client applications may also require some interaction with the user and thus may be used in combination with the social engineering method. Another classification is by the action against the vulnerable system. Unauthorized data access, arbitrary code execution, and denial of services are examples. Many exploits are designed to provide super user level access to a computer system. However, it is also possible to use several exploits, first to gain low-level access, then to escalate privileges repeatedly until one reaches root. Normally, a single exploit can only take advantage of a specific software vulnerability. An exploit is a piece of software, a chunk of data, or a sequence of commands that take advantage of a bug or vulnerability in order to cause unintended or unanticipated behavior to occur on computer software, hardware, or something electronic, usually computerized. Such behavior frequently includes things like gaining control of a computer system, allowing privilege escalation, or a denial of service attack. In a denial of service attack, an attacker attempts to prevent legitimate users from accessing information or services. By targeting your computer and its network connection, or the computers and network of the sites you are trying to use, an attacker may be able to prevent you from accessing websites, online accounts, or other services that rely on the affected computer. The most common and obvious type of DOS attack occurs when an attacker floods the network with information. The server can only process a certain number of requests at once. So if an attacker overloads the server with requests, it can't process your request. This is a denial of service because you can't access that site. In a distributed denial of service attack, an attacker may use your computer to attack other computers. By taking advantage of security vulnerabilities or weaknesses, an attacker could take control of your computer. He or she could then force your computer to send huge amounts of data to a website or send spam to particular email addresses. The attack is distributed because the attacker is using multiple computers, including yours, to launch the denial of service attack. On December 23, 2015, around half of the homes in the Ivano-Frankivsk region in Ukraine were left without electricity for a few hours. According to the Ukrainian news media outlet, the cause of the power outage was a hacker attack utilizing a virus. It was discovered that the report case was an isolated incident and that other energy companies in Ukraine were targeted by cyber criminals at the same time. Furthermore, it was found that the attacker used a malware family called Black Energy. Specifically, the Black Energy backdoor was used to plant a kill disk component onto the targeted computers that would render them unbootable. Black Energy operators have used numerous spreading mechanisms to infect their victims, including the infamous PowerPoint 0 Days CVE 2014-4114. While the primary objectives of the 2014 attacks appear to be espionage, the discovery of Black Energy Trojan droppers indicated it capable of infecting SCADA industrial control systems. You will notice several references to SCADA and ICS throughout the read ahead. The reason being that the highway system infrastructure is used under the ICS umbrella. As noted, there is a section dedicated to industrial control systems. The malware Stuxnet was designed to sabotage a country's nuclear program by targeting industrial control systems. We will talk in detail about ICS later on in the read ahead. Stuxnet, the first cyber warfare weapon ever. It wasn't about industrial espionage. It didn't steal, manipulate, or erase information. Rather, its goal was to physically destroy. Additional information can be found at the Stuxnet 60 Minutes video clip.